Back to Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast presented by Join Cycling, our show partner for stage 3 of the Critérium du Dauphiné from Celles-sur-Durolle to Les Estables. I didn't see a single human on the course today. This was, where are we in France? Do you know, Benji?
I don't know. I've got no clue.
Let me have a look.
Is Dauphiné a region or?
It's in like the Auvergne, like the Haute-Loire, I think. This seemed very like underpopulated, this area. It's northwest of Avignon and southwest of Lyon. So near Le Puy. I don't know if Puy-de-Dôme is there. But yeah, we're in the middle of France, below Lyon, and we're making our way towards the Alps. And this stage is again one of those. It's not a climby sprinty boy stage, Benji. It's not. It's something
Correct.
different. I don't have a name for it yet. If people can, I don't know. It's I used to call this a Roglic stage, but maybe it's a bit too easy for that. I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to tell what it is, but it also depended on the actual teams at the start of the stage, because we didn't really have a grasp yesterday evening on whether it would be a breakaway or whether teams would control the stage. And when I looked at the parcours, then I'm like, okay, yes, you've got the first, let's say, 80 kilometers that are flat. The second half where you've got ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But it's all about that last 3.8 kilometers at 4.8%. And then when I see that climb, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a climb like yesterday, but maybe less hard. So maybe we see Cort against then a Roglic again. And then I look at the part before the final climb, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of climbing. So it was very difficult to like have a grasp on who is going to win the stage. I think who did you go for yesterday?
Did I pick Roglic or no?
I don't know. I think you
maybe
mentioned the breakaway name.
I think I went breakaway and I picked like 6 people.
I picked G for the breakaway.
Yeah, I thought it might be a break but then I thought about it a little bit more and I was like, I put my mind 181 Ks with that 3K, 4K, 5% finish, and it is uphill and there's some steeper climbs during the stage. I put myself into the shoes of a XDS and I was thinking, Cort's in yellow, just took your first World Tour level win.
Yes.
He has won on finishes this hard before,
yes,
in Algarve. So why not? Even if he's not the stage favorite, what else are you going to do? Okay, you could put him in the break or something, but so I realized, okay, actually, and they got a strong team here, like of some mini trucks, Hulgaard, Leknesund, they got some strong guys here. I thought actually then they're not going to let a break go.
Everyone wants to know, what type of truck is Hulgaard?
He's like he's a electric vehicle. He's a Cybertruck.
When he went from X to Trek, he didn't have like a battery to recharge somewhere.
No, then he became a Ford 150 because he went to America for Trek. He got one of those ones, but then he's back in Europe. The Norwegians, they love, in theory, a little bit of clean energy. Not sure. And then so he's got I was about to say something, but I won't say it. It was too snarky even for me. I was like, why the fuck am I going to kill Hulk? I don't even know the guy. He's a Cybertruck. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. I would have said it 4 years ago. There's also the sort of finish that if it's hard enough and paced hard enough, Roglic, we've seen him, he's won on easier finishes than this, and he's gone toe-to-toe with Cort on flat finishes in the Vuelta before. We've got other punchers here like Naruka, if Maxim Van Hils. Where is Maxim Van Hils, Benji?
I actually don't know. He's riding the Tour de France.
He'd be good on this. That's the finish. Pidcock,
Swiss.
Michael Matthews, Swiss. Okay, a lot of the guys who I would have liked for the last 2 stages are going to Swiss.
Yeah.
And so the question is, can Cort make this finish? Because Pedersen, I don't think it's possible. Can Cort make this finish? And when the break eventually went, we saw X intentions that there was going to be no big breakaway. Nicolas Prudhomme for Decathlon Agitaire Le Mondial, Harry Sweeney, not Christopher Juhl Jensen, Remy Rocha.
Correct.
Christopher Juhl Jensen later. I don't think, if X are controlling because it's a flat start, or there's a few hills, I think keeping your powder dry, if you're a Madouas, if you're a Bart Lemon, if you're a Juhl Jensen, if you're a Jorg Zimmerman, is the smart thing to do. Nylons. for a later phase of the race. But that seemed to be what happened, Benji. But what was the big news pre-coverage?
Well, pre-coverage, I saw some images which looked like coverage, but it wasn't coverage. There was a crash happening in the peloton, and that included Primoz Roglic, who hit the deck. I don't know if other riders were involved. It was only reported that Roglic fell, and my first reaction is, oh no, Tour de France is coming, Roglic crashing in the Dauphiné. Then I was thinking, okay, how many times has this man crashed in stage races before? And it's actually quite a bit, but the most important part is what's going to be the consequences when it comes to this crash. And it didn't look too bad. He had some damaged kit on his back, but it is unfortunate to see him crash once again just before the Tour de France in his preparation race. And he actually didn't crash in Paris 2024, but an interesting stat, according to Christian Ebert on Twitter, is that he finished every 1 week race in 2023 without a crash, but crashed in both Grand Tours that year. In 2022, he finished every 1 week race without a crash again, but crashed in both Grand Tours. So this is the first year where he crashes in the 1 week races, which means that he might not crash in the Grand Tours, is the logic that I'm pulling out of that.
Did he crash in 2022 Tour de France?
Apparently, well, according to this, yes. I don't remember.
He crashed in the Dauphiné badly in 2020.
2022, of course.
No, 2020.
Hay bale.
No, 2020.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a long time ago.
COVID one.
I don't remember that.
Because he was cooking in the Dauphiné and then he crashed pre-coverage on the last stage, I think. And then... this is tough to know, Benji, and this is why it's tough to assess the final of this stage because, yeah, he's got no skin off, but sometimes if you land on your back, we didn't see the crash. Maybe how much did that affect him? How sore will he be tomorrow? Obviously, it wasn't, I hope, as high speed because he crashed. I mean, Benji, he nearly ended his season in Basque Country, not in the Vingegaard crash. The day before, there was a bend, they hit at 60, he slid out, and there was a concrete curb. He just missed. If he hits his knee into that, so he's had a few, well, not even near misses on it. That was a near miss, but he then crashed out the next day. So, yeah, crashes continue to be a problem, but he seemed to be at least fine enough. There wasn't the only crash on this stage. We get back to the race where we get to this hill zone, and I see on the first sort of 3K 5% climb, UNOX is smashing it. They take a minute and a half out of Sweeney, Prudhomme, and Rocha. Rocha has kind of cooked already, kind of dropping from the break already without being dropped yet. And I was already thinking, Benji, if you're like, not Armirel because he was in the break yesterday, but if you're Dorian Godon, if you're Bart Lemon, if you're Rainer Keplinger, Fred Wright, let me pick some more. Madouas. Is Zimmerman here? He is. If you're those sort of riders where you're not going to win the sprint, this is the phase to jump where UNOX have spent their guys, they're tired, where the gap is brought close enough that you can close across, and then where are Bora really going to chase? Now that Roglic has crashed especially, are they really going to chase?
The thing that I see there is when I see that situation, I'm like, yes, on one end, this is an opportunity to jump, but on the other hand, you've also seen the willingness of the likes of UNOX to hammer it. Yes, they've just hammered it significantly before this phase, but it's also a thought where you could be like, okay, maybe in a 1-2, this could work. As in, you try and attack with a certain rider that might not be a rider for the last climb, and that hurts the other teams that you're trying to compete against on the other climb with your other rider. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And especially like if you're the only guy that goes, you could end up looking like an idiot. You couldn't you're like, am I turning into Alessandro Vera in the Giro? You know, and in the end, that's sort of it's what happens for one guy, but doesn't happen for another. Christopher Juhl Jensen jumps. He very, very, very strong. The Jaco Alula, Danish Irishman gets across that breakaway very, very quickly. Madouas jumps just after him, but he gets into a chasse patate and never makes it across in this sort of horrible terrain to be solo. And yeah, I was looking for like, where is Javier Romo, Lascano? Where are these guys also jumping? Because there's not so many that can win the sprint finish. And I didn't think there were so many teams that were going to control either. And that's sort of what happens. Jules Jensen gets across, and the gap stays at 1 minute for quite a while. There's more plateaus. Eventually, Amadouaz gets caught. Eventually, Benji, the break is done for, not from X pacing, but from the safety police. We saw some incredible safety policing today.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like the 15 kilometer to 17 kilometer, the 15 to 7 kilometer mark is really that phase where Ineos is trying to keep their riders safe, Bora's trying to keep their riders safe. Every single GC team is at the front. And then you've got Little Trek, who probably made the most impact in the last 15 to 6 kilometers when it comes to catching the breakaway, because Miss Pedersen went to the front and hammered it for that team. And that was happening. First of all, before we get to the rest of that phase, did we speak about Harper's crash?
No, and that's probably why. And there were teams already jockeying for position before, because it takes one narrowing and you go down, and that's your GC over. And that's what happened for, I think, Harper today. Not a like a, I don't know if it is a bridge. It's like, it's the sort of thing I drink water out of in the mountains and then get sick.
Sus.
And that's what happened in Roubaix last year. Everyone thought they thought I was salty because Van Aert had a mechanical. Yeah, maybe. But also, I was sick as a dog. Like I crawled from the couch to do the pod because I drank water out of a stream
from a mountain like a dog.
Yeah. Well, Toby drinks out of it all the time. He never gets sick.
So you thought, okay, my dog does it all the time. I might as well do it.
Yeah, but this one, I normally drink higher up. This one was a bit too low, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, there's basically this thing over a little stream, and it's a narrowing stone wall. Harper doesn't even like go down hard. He gets bumped into the wall, and kind of like Michael Matthews in San Remo on the Poggio wall, he rakes his hand or arm against this stone wall and basically takes half the skin off his arm. And I think he was really struggling to hold, he was really struggling to hold the bars. And then the Jayco car brings him back, and there was a mistake in that they have a lineup of 4 guys bringing him back behind the car, but he's the 4th guy. And so the 4th guy gets dropped, they get gapped. That's the hardest position to be in. And so he gets cooked on the chase. He comes back, I think, did he lose time in the end?
I think he was, the thing is, when he got back to the peloton, he went to the doctor's car to kind of wrap up his hand. And because of that, he's at the back of the peloton. And I swear there was a moment with about 4 to 5 kilometers to go where he was off the back when teams were hammering it. I don't know if he eventually got back to the front.
He didn't lose time. That's a crazy performance because he looked in big trouble.
That is great. And like,
yeah,
it's a crisis averted this time around. Let's hope the consequences of that crash will not
go forth
in the coming stages. That being said, while the fighting for positioning happened, Broe gets closer and closer to the peloton. And in the last 5 kilometers, I was starting to notice, okay, so Roglic has kind of lost his own train in the last 3 kilometers. Then you've got Remco, who is on the wheel of Roglic, while Landa goes to the front with Van Wilder on the wheel, which would be proof of the fact that they're going for Van Wilder and Landa combination.
It was Moscon, no?
Was it Moscon? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Commentary kept saying Landa. That doesn't make sense, eh? Because Landa's leader here.
Yeah, and also it's a 3% climb, and it's fucking like Castroviejo and Kwiatkowski.
Fair. Yeah, it makes much more sense in my head that it is Moscon, actually.
It was Il Trattore, I think.
Okay. Where was Landa then? Because I didn't see Landa. That's a very good
question. I didn't see him once.
Wait, he was Zubelyaing into a good position.
Listen, he knows Landa's not going to get involved in these BS sprints for bonus seconds. He's the only one that's read the parkour. We've got 3 hard mountain stages coming up. Why am I going to fight and stress, guys? Come on.
Yeah, fair. It's fair. You just got to be in the front group on these races. He can't win the sprint anyway. And who can win the sprint? I'm looking at Magnus Scott, who seems to be in good position. One UNOX rider with him. The rest kind of dropped because they worked all day.
Pedersen sacrificed himself.
Yep, exactly. Breakaway gets caught. And then I'm thinking, okay, we're entering the last 2 kilometers. Everyone seems jolly right now. Will anyone try anything before we get to the sprint? And fortunately for us, there was one team that completely diverted from their initial plan of yesterday. Yesterday, Israel Premier Tech was spacing all day for a position with Dylan Teuns. In my opinion, he had 0 chance to win the stage yesterday, so that wasn't valuable to do. They adapted today. Rolling attacks was on the menu. 1 kilometer to go. Christian Nylands goes with a move.
And
What are
Nylands,
your
remember,
thoughts?
this guy, he's the unluckiest man in the peloton. The first ever chase group where they had no tactical, where Group 2 syndrome didn't eventuate in 3 years, happened in the Tour de France to Nylands last year, I think on stage 10 or 12. 10 maybe. And Izagirre ended up winning, or I can't remember, but they somehow all worked together. And he was actually by far the strongest that day, and he looks like he's flying once again. They got a really nice stage hunting team for the Tour de France coming up, and as you say, they roll attacks, and they make it hard, and they make it so hard that Cort now, you just see him sliding, and he has no chance. And what Cort needs is he can do this climb, he can survive this climb in the peloton, but then he needs 2Ks of flat or 1K of flat, and that's what this didn't have today, which it had yesterday. It had 5Ks of flat to recover yesterday before he could do his flat sprint. And then there's another attack. Who jumped first? Because I saw
attack. Oh, what do you mean?
No, after Nylands. Who jumped first, Gregoire or G?
The other man.
G.
Yeah. Correct.
So G jumps, and then there's all the GC guys, and Koos goes to follow. Koos is in front of Jorgensen and Roglic. Koos jumps and is like, actually, nah, not today. I don't have it. Like to follow these guys. He opens the gap, and then EF start closing. But so it was G that jumped first.
Yeah, and that's why I like the 1-2 that they performed, because if you go with Nylands at 1 kilometer to go, then you see that Broe is using their last man in preparation just to take Nylands back. And when that is caught, then G has an attack and Broe's not really there to solve it anymore. So other teams are then looking at themselves and are like, oh, do we have a rider here? Can we solve it ourselves or not? G goes on the left side of the road, and when G went on the left side of the road, I was like, okay, Derek G, this is your moment. I was thinking of you yesterday. I expected a breakaway, a 400-meter breakaway. We'll have to do. But then Romain Grégoire came out of the depths of the peloton. He was positioned by Genietz on the climb, and he goes to the wheel of G, and he passes G in the last 300 meters. I'm like, it's gone.
But he passed G like the finish line was 50 meters away.
I thought the victory was gone for G.
Everyone by surprise. Commentators called it. Gregoire's come past him. And I was like, hold up. If Gregoire should just sat in his wheel, it was 350 to go.
Yeah.
And so Gregoire jumps and he kick super strong. He's get back to his wheel. And then everyone's like, hold on, there's 200 meters of flat left. And EF were chasing back. EF had pulled Roglic up. And then I was like, this is the moment where he can snap across, where Turbo Roglic will like teleport, but that didn't happen. And so it was the two guys up ahead. I don't know if G is a francophone or not. I'll say he speaks good French, but not fluent, not native. So, and anyway, he then gets let out after leading out Gregoire, and then basically we have the sprint of two guys who can't sprint anymore, and G does the best sprint of the two because he's a bit bigger and he's got that track background in the saddle, and he wins his first ever race that's not Canadian Natty Champs TT, his first ever professional road stage, and it's a big one. It's the Critérium du Dauphiné. It's a World Tour race. It's the most prestigious World Tour 1 week, and he wins a stage and goes into the leader's jersey no less by 3 seconds ahead of Cort. So huge win for G. 16 wins for Israel Premier Tech this season, including a World Tour Classic and a World Tour stage race, and now they take a Dauphiné stage win. So so actually a lot of those wins are Rwanda and Taiwan stat padding, but still at World Tour level, they've been good this year.
Yeah, for certain. And also it's nice to see them adapt from yesterday to today, to go with a different plan that makes more sense, and see them use their strength as a team. Those riders that are the breakaway strength, not necessarily in the breakaway, but then in the final. I liked seeing that a lot. The duo, Nylands, G. I don't know whether they specify the order beforehand. Probably, because otherwise you don't come up with a plan last minute like that, I feel so. And to see that happen was really nice. It's also nice to see Derek G just win, because we're used to him getting second all the time, and it was getting time for a victory. And it's also, after the Giro last year, he was the man. He was the man of the people after the Giro. And then we had a bit of a relaxed moment in his career, I would say. He had some good results, but it's really now that he's back on the trend, and I'm very much looking forward to the Tour de France to see what Derek G can do there in that breakaway squad. Like you said, with Nylands, Froome should stay home. Sorry, you're not good enough. And I just want to see breakaway adventures from guys like G and Nylands all day long in the in the Tour de France. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to watch them at the Tour de France. But that being said, valiant effort to Gregoire. What was that? Sounds like you're suffocating a dog.
So yeah, it's a Grey Jay. It's supposed to be Canada's national bird. Israel Premier Tech, get a replica Grey Jay with the Dauphiné, something of the finish, the profile carved on it. He's a big bird watcher. I think Derek G.
Yeah. I don't know what just happened.
I love Derek G. I'll just echo what you said. I think seems like a really nice guy, easy guy to cheer for. So yeah, I'm happy you won.
To chirp for.
To chirp for, yeah. I wonder what his victory cry is. Do I do the top 10?
I've got no clue, but you might as well repeat it. I don't
Gregoire
think
second, very close. He maybe could have won if he was a bit more patient. Naruka, another good result, third. Ciccone fourth, Tejada fifth, Buitrago sixth, Vlasov seventh, Champerson eighth, Jorgensen ninth, Roglic 10th. They were on a 3-second gap, actually. They basically stalled on the flat last 200. There was no one to lead out anymore. And but no one on GC actually gets any bonus seconds. No disrespect to Naruka. And it's actually curious now to see Vlasov finishing ahead of Roglic. I don't know if Roglic was affected by the crash or what the plan was there.
Probably a little bit, eh?
Maybe.
I think it's partially because once again unideal positioning is what I saw. But
no, Roglic was in the best position of all the GC contenders
when it comes to the final sprint.
Yeah, EF brought him up.
No.
EF brought him up. Quinn and Naruka, chasing, and he could have snapped close G and Gregoire, and he didn't jump.
Because with about a kilometer to go, he was nowhere near a good position.
Oh yeah. I mean, like right in the sprint.
Yeah.
Earlier, Jorgensen. It was like Jorgensen, Ayuso, Rodriguez were like blocked for like 3K, I think. But actually, when the sprint happened, he did get brought up by EF, and he didn't jump.
The thing also is like, on one end, yes, the crash probably had an effect. It's just that we can't see that now. Like the fact that his clothing was damaged must mean that it wasn't like a soft hit in the grass. But in addition to that, we won't know until the climb start, until the time trials here to see whether that affects or anything. But then again, we won't know whether that's just an effect of the crash or whether that's then his form. Does that make sense? Because like
exactly, you can't really like because normally he should do better. Like he should.
Yeah.
Like in Catalonia last year, he
should beat Nururkar here. Even though Nururkar, wonderful season so far.
Yeah.
Like the guy getting third today, 7th yesterday, 9th in Medicon Tour. Okay. Edwin Frankfurt, top 5 in a World Tour race there as well. Just so many close results this year. It wouldn't shock me if the guy has like a banger victory at a certain point. But respect to that, Roglic should beat him here.
Yeah, I mean, in Catalonia on the uphill finish in San Feliu de Guijols, which Colbrelli beat Bling on the year before in 22, and then that's where Colbrelli collapsed. He led the peloton out for 350 meters last year in 23 and won.
Yep.
On 5-6%. So
is that the Edith Schelling versus Conrad stage as well?
Yes, yeah. There's been a lot of internecine warfare on that sprint where people think, I can do this sprint because like a GC guy. Everyone will say they can do it. A puncher will say I can do it. A sprinter will say I can do it. And then the GC guys say, well, I want to go for the bonus seconds. So it's a great sprint for battles. In terms of GC, Roglic, there's no gaps really between that are different to yesterday. Roglic with 2 seconds on Jorgensen, and then he has 6 seconds still on the rest. I'm looking down the list to see if anyone of note dropped, and they did not. In terms of GC, so good to see Chris Harper save it.
Yep.
Today.
Exactly.
What did you see in Rouleur Wars? Can we just before we preview the TT? What did you see in Rouleur Wars today?
Rouleur Wars.
That's the most interesting part of today for me.
Because if we take a look at the last 25 kilometers, that phase where all the teams were kind of sprinting for their position, obviously Tarling and Turner are good at that. Like. When it comes to Ineos, that's an obvious one. The only thing they can really gain today from that is a safe position in the group, maybe on the final climb, after which they probably won't win the sprint. So it's like just keeping your rider safe. When it comes to Bora, I don't know. When it comes to Denzai, I don't have like a clear view of it yet. And when it comes to the rest of the team, I think Roglic was at a certain point in Hindley's wheel who was moving up. Did I see that wrong?
Yes. Yeah. Hindley like surfed the peloton really well on the left-hand side.
Hindley is the new ruler.
Yeah. Hindley was really good.
Yeah.
And like he's more of a natural in the bunch, I think.
I think today also is a perfect example of why you can't afford to have a rider like Hindley lose 50 seconds on the first few stages, especially on a Grand Tour, because Roglic's crash percentage is notable compared to other GC riders. So you have to have a backup plan.
I agree. And on that crash, I looked on the Cor Vos database just now, and there's no photos of him mid-crash or lying on the ground, so I don't really have any extra info. I can just see him getting his radio fixed up by the car. But yeah, I agree. I saw Ineos, they're the best at it, and then Benoit was better today, so was Jungels. Both those two yesterday, okay. Today, better.
How was Wellens?
Wellens, not good. Pollitt was good. Arietta was good. Wellens, I didn't see, unless I mistook him for another UAE. But I
don't know.
He should be here on this finish, putting Ayuso P3 at okay to go, I would say. Maybe he was, but I think it was Sivakov. What other rouleurs did I notice? Van Baarle was okay, but he doesn't... You know when there was the real fight, Benji, for the descent? Yeah. There, he cannot compete with the Tarlings and Gibbons, and then Visma gets swamped. He's
not Van Hooijdonk, which is...
No.
It's difficult to replace Van Hooijdonk in a team like that, and I don't think they have found that replacement yet.
Nah, Benji Naesen 2026.
Fuck that.
Okay, that's all I have to say. But I like watching rouleur wars before the Tour de France because these guys are important. Like, they really make a big difference. Tomorrow's stage from Saint-Germain-Laval to Nolise, 34.4 kilometer long TT. Very, very long for a 1 week stage race, and the Dauphiné normally does have them that long. Hilly. Am I allowed to call this one Hilly, Benji?
You're allowed to call this one Hilly.
427 meters vertical gain. So it's, I would say that's hilly.
34 kilometers. Yeah, let's call it hilly. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt today.
It's not flat.
It's not flat. It's false flat. Is that a separate categorization than hilly?
It's got 12 meters elevation gain per kilometer. I'll say, yeah. But no real... and also, it's net... This is Dainese' worst nightmare. This is net uphill because they start with a short descent of about 2Ks, and then it's pretty much uphill. It's kind of like these horrible road stages they've been doing, which are very, very difficult and heavy on the legs. So it'll be a TT bike, obviously, but gearing will be interesting to see what gearing they have. There's 2 intermediate time checks, one at 10Ks, one at 25, which is very nice. Thank you, ASO, for spacing them out correctly, unlike in some of the Giro TTs. And then it finishes with a 500 meter, 5.5% punch. That screams one man to me before like a 500 meter flat finish. This is a very interesting TT, Benji, particularly leading up to the Tour where we have two very important and long TTs. One is properly hilly. Yep. What do you... To me, before the crash, I would have picked Roglic to win this. Actually, comfortably.
I think that's a very fair assessment. I must say, though, when it comes to Tarling, I don't think it's like difficult to put him completely out of the story. As in, he can still compete, in my opinion. Maybe I'm rating Tarling very high because I believe he's going to destroy the Olympics. But I still feel viable in perhaps a podium. Maybe I'm even underrating him by saying that. But that being said, when it comes to GC riders,
underrating. His dad just tweeted that tomorrow that he's not back to full fitness. He's hoping for a top 10 in the TT.
Oh God, that's underrating.
Yeah, like come on. If he doesn't top 10, then he must be sick.
Roglic on paper before the race, I'd be like, okay, one of the stronger riders when it comes to the GC riders, but Remco in peak form as well. Let's be honest about that. This is also kind of his parkour. And my only change there is that I don't seem to have full confidence that Quickstep is also considering Remco as the full guy. So, but he will definitely 100% go for it tomorrow to see where he stands. Even Roglic, 100% will go for it. Even though he crashed, obviously he's still trying to go for GC. So regardless of the motives of oh, am I confident in GC from Remco's side? He will 100% go for it. That's my belief at least. Ayuso, unironically, I see you doing really well on this time trial.
I don't.
Really?
I don't know.
It's not in Switzerland, so that takes some points away.
Yeah, and there's no like technical downhills. It is net uphill. There's a few short downhills. It's really tough to see, and he said he wasn't in best shape, maybe, or unsure of his legs after some sickness last week.
It.
Everyone says that, you know. Actually, except Jorgensen and Koos are like, yeah, we win.
Jorgensen will have a good result here, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah,
he should. This TT is very good for someone of his profile, so he should be coming a minimum top 10. Top 5 is probably really would be the A+ result. But as good TT is here, as you say. So I'm trying to look for who's like a dark horse, because if Tarling doesn't win because he's not in shape, but I think Tarling should top 3 this on one leg.
Yeah.
Who's
I can't find anyone.
No, I can't either. It really is Remco, Tarling,
but
nah. Vlasov's got a decent TT on him.
He won't win though.
No.
Top 10. Yeah, I see no one.
Yep, I think you're right. So who have you got? Final answer.
Final answer, the winner tomorrow will be Joshua Tarling.
I actually don't know. I think this could be quite interesting.
Yeah, I have no clue either, but might as well go with the guy that's not a GC rider. Roglic,
I'll stick with it. Yeah, Roglic said after the crash that it was a hard start and he missed the road. He went off the road just on his own, just crashed. So I think it'll be fine. I'm hoping it'll be fine, and he's going to clean this TT up. Do you see any... Well, Remco says he's not here for GC at all. So
he's going to go for it. He will want to know where he stands when he comes to the time trial. And Lodewijk has said, we'll see what happens in the time trial, then we'll see the days after. So he's going to try.
Okay. Most of the GC guys here have a pretty professional level TT. So it's not, well, as in like there's no...
Yeah.
Maybe Rodriguez is the one who might lose some time, Benji, and Landa?
Yeah. Correct. Van Wilder should be good.
Yeah, Van Wilder's solid. Santi will lose time probably. Gegenhardt, solid. Chiccone's a bit not so good. So. That's what I'm speaking to a philosopher today. Okay, but I'll be interested to see. I really love watching these TTs, especially when I really don't know who will win. I really don't know, like the top 10, what order it will be in. Really, really interesting stuff. So, yeah. Any other races on today? There were not. Just some 2.2s. Any other news today?
Well, I'm going to use this opportunity to plug my own content because tomorrow and the day after, I'm going to upload Pro Cycling Manager videos on my YouTube channel, on Benji Naesen on YouTube. It's going to be good. We're starting a story, and I wish you the presence to be in that video as well, so go check it out.
Yeah, go check that out, of course. We did the Froome and Woods feud.
Yep.
It really is a slow news day.
That's okay.
In cycling. Tomorrow's ZLM Tour starts as well. And then on Thursday, Tour of Britain Women, but ZLM Tour is 2.1. There's a bit of drama about Tour de Tietema not starting, I think. And so, yeah, there's but it's going to be an ITT and then some sprint stages. So see if Olaf Koy, is he doing it? No, he's not doing it. Oh no. I thought he was like, does the Netherlands have a monarchy?
Yes, they do.
I thought they would like legally oblige Olaf Koy to do it. We'll see if Tim van Dijk or Per Strandhagen is.
It's also, let's be honest about it. There's going to be 1 billion yellow bees on the road.
Well, there are a lot at the moment because the summer, like the amount of insects is crazy. And you see in Dauphiné actually someone gets stung in the helmet or something. Where did Cancellara get stung? In Swiss before the Tour one year?
I don't know, actually. Don't remember.
Cancellara.
How did we get here?
No, it's the Vuelta. He got hospitalized for a bee sting.
Jesus Christ.
It was in Switzerland, but before Vuelta. I nearly got it right.
Okay, fair. Close enough.
Okay, slow news day. That's fine. Not all days have to be busy. We'll see you with the recap of the TT where there will be big gaps tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. Ciao.